In today's episode of Why Did I Decide to Do This, as the title suggests, we will try to beat the Resident Evil 3 remake, only using pistols, grenades and the basic survival knife. But as if this wasn't insane enough, I also made the executive decision to torture myself even more by doing this on the game's hardest difficulty, Inferno. So if you want to see someone suffer playing video games, then you're at the right place. But enough talking, let's jump right into the action. Enjoy! Starting our journey in Jill's apartment, we immediately get attacked by Nemisis, who doesn't even hesitate to try to push this huge piece of debris up Jill's ass. And so we pick up our first and for most of the playthrough only real firearm. Stepping foot onto the streets of Raccoon City, we don't hesitate for even a second and commit arson on these unsuspecting peasants. Breaking into some random storage room, we already receive our first upgrade for the handgun, being the dot sight. Very good. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I'll try to make it. So much for that. It's shit. Shit. Oh shit! Normally that guy walks up the stairs. I was really lucky there. Nice. I'll stab your legs, bro. Get on the ground. Are you dead? Oh, hand grenade, perfect. Oh, that cool. I think that room was full of zombies, yeah. Oh yeah, saving. Forgot that. Fuck! Ooh, I heard his little steps. Oh shit! Normally I always get hit there. Nice! Entering the local bug's breeding place to restore the power for the train, we make our way past these little critters and towards the power switches, turning on one after another. However, they weren't just gonna let us get away with that, so we decided to start another rendition of the purge, clearing the nest of all of these bugs. Which, in hindsight, definitely was not worth it and a huge waste of ammunition. What can I say? We will just have to accept the consequences of our actions. On the way back, we defeat Nemisis to grab the enhanced magazine. The red dot is pretty helpful, wow. Okay. New threats. Ah! We make our way to the railway building to put in the route for the train, elegantly dodging our way back. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh my. I don't have any heals, bro. And actually defeat Nemesis a second time for another handgun part. Poor guy can't catch a break. Just go through the door, Jill. Shit.
I don't think I'm gonna make it, sadly. Oh my goodness! I killed him with a knife!
Sewers were probably the easiest part in the game, as dodge after dodge we get through the section in a very simple manner, pick up the battery as well as another hip pouch, after which we make our way out of there just as fast as we made it in, and get given a hand by Nemisis, who apparently wanted revenge for me bullying the shit out of him.
Oh yeah, Nemesis.
Reaching the rooftop, we finally get to our first major boss fight. How are we gonna deal with it? I'll let my past self explain that.
Well, I guess it's knife strats now. Knife, knife, knife.
Thank you. However, this guy had other plans, trying to burn us to a nice crisp. We were not putting up with this though and start the fight by throwing 2 grenades right in between his legs, which causes the fuel tank to spontaneously combust. Reaching the second phase would be more exciting if it didn't mean that we had to beat the rest of this bullshit fight with only our knife. What didn't help is that the knife had the same damage output as stabbing Nemesis with a fucking toothpick. But after stabbing this guy's chest for 20 minutes straight, he can't take it anymore and finally breaks down.
My goodness! Oh my goodness, I did it! I did it! Oh my goodness! I used up all of my handgun bullets, but I did it! Holy shit!
Arriving at the RPD thinking we could catch a break because it's only a 10-minute long section, we immediately get proven otherwise by our only man Brad Wickles, who manages to kill me not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. But seriously, look at this clip and tell me this isn't some bullshit right there. Making our way through the RPD, I pulled off a strain of counters so good that I felt like I was ascending to heaven.
15-minute segment, maybe. She's gonna get me. Not this time! Not this time, man! Not this time! Not this time!
After having calmed ourselves down, we take the armory key, blind a bunch of zombies, and collect the battery from the locker, and use another flashbang on the way back. Having apparently dropped the soap in the shower, we do the only reasonable thing to defend ourselves from these zombies, and send them straight back to the lobby with a healthy grenade. We didn't kill all of them though, but through sheer luck zombie number 1 and the payload go and get naughty in the shower, leaving us a clear path out of this absolute shithole. Being able to play as the master of unlocking again sure felt good, but the knowledge of the following boss felt, well, not so good. For now it's time for the second Nemesis boss fight, which, according to the internet, takes about round up 300 handgun bullets to take down. And we had a staggering... Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Safe to say we had no chance of taking this guy down with our puny little pistol, which means that our boy would receive the London treatment. This fight was a war of perseverance, taking a total of 40 minutes to complete with the knife. Now, I am aware that you can beat this guy much faster by optimizing your hits, but with an enemy that literally puts you onto life support in 1 hit, I wasn't really taking any chances there. And finally, after 35 minutes with my hands almost going numb from all the knife slashes, we finally beat...
The fuck?
You can imagine how I felt as I saw this big chungus snatching the victory right out of my hands. This defeat felt so frustrating that I straight up wanted to throw the controller and myself into the trash can. However, after taking a short break, on the next day, we finally managed to beat this shitbird. With bleeding fingers, we can now enter the hospital as Carlos.
Finally!
Right, let's do this.
Yes!
Stop it!
Fuck you! I hate you!
Starting this section knowing that the Cabin 2.0 fight was practically around the corner made my skin itch, but for now we had different problems to think about. I almost had a stroke getting through this area, getting killed by literally every enemy in this hospital at least once, where admittedly some of the deaths were to my severe incompetence. However, it seemed like divine intervention itself somehow saved me from getting my throat slit by this hunter. Not believing what just happened, I threw a flash and just got out of there before he gives it another try.
That should be enough to get me through.
But with that, we get the vaccine for Jill and start one of the most difficult and time-consuming sections of the entire game. I struggled. I struggled hard. I had so many good runs that ended because of some bullshit RNG or because I made one stupid mistake. It took me 6 hours to beat this 10-minute fight. So, what was the strategy, you might ask? Well, after much trial and error and some online research, I figured out the best way to kill the zombies in here was to in fact not kill most of them at all. Instead, the best strategy seemed to be to just stunlock these homeless guys with these little electrical boxes that were practically placed around, and to just do that again and again and again. Once the lights go out, it's time to focus on the hunter that joins in to try to ruin my day. Now, I was stupid and only had one grenade, which we needed for later on, so I had no choice but to kill him by stunlocking him and shooting him whilst he's on the ground. Not my proudest work, but it has to do.
And if I have to counter you to death, then I will do that. Very good. It's fine, actually. He's dead, very good. I'm gonna turn on the lights again.
Almost got it.
Come on! If you grab me, I hate you. Okay, it's fine. The second hunter should come in right about now. Perfect stun. There's the hunter. Grenade. Immediately. Oh my goodness! Wait. That's the last one. Kill them before they turn into Nemesis Alpha Parasites. Oh my goodness! I have 2 flashbangs, that's it! That's it! That's it! That's it! Come on! I have another one. Nothing can... I don't care, I'm gonna take the health. I want to be absolutely safe right now. Get the f*** away, that's mine. It's over! It's over! It's over!
Yeah, as you can see, I was very happy to be done with this. We finally get to play as Jill again, in the hopes that we won't get turned into a sandwich, however, that seemed to be an inevitability at this point. We also get a second pistol right at the start of the section, which, of course, we are allowed to take, that's fair game. Now, just so you understand how long the next few sections took, while editing, I have parts for every gaming session, and beating the wannabe cabin was part 6 out of 13. So yeah, safe to say that Nest 2 blows. And some specific creatures made me honestly want to quit my subscription to life. We move forward and enter Nest 2, which is a very original name, before literally getting hit by the first enemy we can encounter, which was less than motivating. We try to ignore the flash wound as much as possible and pick up another hit pouch. Collecting the first of the 3 fuses, the little chicken wing didn't really seem okay with it and immediately turned us into a flip phone. Yeah, so we pick it up again and this time use the iframes right to make it right through unscathed. The second fuse is just as easy as the first, as we can just dodge back towards the ladder before getting jumped by the zombie dogs. The last fuse is also a no-brainer, as we can just run past the hunter trying to jump us. We do get hit by the tentacle head whilst trying to put the fuses into the fuse box, but overall this section was pretty easy, which is something I can't say for the next one.
Bye. Bye 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 bye. Almost no damage, okay? Fine.
Before entering hell, we have to watch Nemesis claiming Tyrell as his little pet before watching the doors close in a comedically fast fashion. And now we have finally arrived at what was to be the hardest section of the game, taking me 3 days and 11 hours to beat. But let's first break down the general plan for getting the 2 vaccine parts as well as the way back to the synchronizer. Getting the first half of the vaccine is actually surprisingly easy, as we just have to dodge past a few paleheads and 2 parasite paleheads, which this area likes to spam at you. So that's the first half. For the second half, we just lure the palehead and the parasites out into the open before walking into a dead zone where they will lose interest in us and just turn around, which is relatable. Then we proceed to pump lead into the back of those parasites. We lure the palehead back and just dodge the rest, which should give us enough time to get the second half of the vaccine. And so we entered the most difficult fight of the whole game, more difficult than any Nemesis boss fight could ever dream to be. If I had to give this fight a number between 0 and 10 to represent its difficulty, it would be so far off the scale that you might as well give it an error. So, here's a representation of how most of the attempts ended.
No! No!
After almost having given up on my will to live and on this challenge, we get a blessing from who could I only assume was Jesus, who was looking down on us, finally allowing us to take down these little shit stains. One after another, they slowly fell. and after 20 minutes of pure concentration, we finally beat this hell of an area. However, the satisfaction doesn't last long, as we are now forced to face the realization that we didn't have any heals left and barely any bullets. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the Nemesis free fight was right around the corner. And we had nothing. Yeah, this sucked. But because it's so similar to the Nemesis 2 boss fight, I'm gonna skip through most of this, as the strategy for both fights is practically the same, with the only difference being that we let Nemesis get rid of all the little pests who try to ruin our knife-heavy experience. And after again 30 minutes of stabs, we let Carlos finish him with some acid. However, apparently Nemesis really wanted to go out with a boom.
Get that beat. Come on, Carlos. What is this? What the fuck is your problem? It's over!
Jill!
I did it!
Now, there was a problem. Through all those hours of intense gaming, it seemed as though I had overdone myself. Whilst fighting this fella, I felt my left arm starting to hurt a bit. But being the smartass I am, I ignored it and kept fighting, which was undoubtedly the worst decision I could have made, as on the next day, I felt the consequences. As it turned out, I had been gaming so intensely that I managed to tear a chest muscle, which forced me to take a break from this challenge for a whole 2 weeks. However, the challenge never truly left my mind, and after I felt able to play again, you can believe me, I was ready to blow this overgrown amalgamation of flesh back into the depths of hell. And so the intense final boss fight began, dodging every attack we could, after which we shoot at the little pustules around his molten body. You can imagine the intense pressure I felt when we entered phase 2, but we stand the test and continue to dodge everything the sky throws at us. And then the final shot. It felt so satisfying, like a huge burden just dropped off my shoulders. It was truly remarkable.
All power sources activated. Powering up.
Goodbye, you little pet.
And so it was finally over. We shoot Nikolai in the shoulder and make our way out of this living hell, and for the first time in weeks, I felt true relief. A huge smile started to build on my face, which instantly faded after seeing that dreadful results screen. Whatever, thank you guys for watching. This took me way too long, so I'd appreciate if you could leave a like and subscribe. You can also leave a comment requesting another challenge as hard as you'd like, as clearly my tenacity and dedication will make it work. We also stream pretty much all the challenges on my Twitch channel, which is also called Plutomine, like my YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the subscription. I also wanted to give a massive shout out to two very special people, Kiki Aelo and Deerings. They were the reason this challenge was finished and the reason this video was made. They motivated me during the journey of beating this insane challenge. So thank you guys. Have a good one.